This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. They have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. They just opened up a 3rd location at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. No appointment is necessary. Head on over to jedsbarbershop.com for more information.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome to episode 282 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Shelley.
Today on the podcast, we sit down with podcaster Noelle Cummings, as well as being a cosplayer, roller derby girl, and basically just being a badass chick. She hosts the podcast Freaky Geeks with friend of the podcast and local Salt Lake comedian Shane Smith.
And we go into it in the episode a little bit, but these two have created such an interesting thing around their podcast, and the community that they've built has been really incredible to watch.
And I'm a bit jealous of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're going to get into that here in just a minute, so hang tight. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, just take a minute, hit that subscribe button in whatever podcast player that you're using. That way, week after week, as we introduce you to some of the most amazing people in Salt Lake City, you'll get the episodes sent right to your phone. The website, as always, where you can find out more about the show is iamsaltlake.com. Hey, Salt Lake, are you in the market for a photographer? Check out amandakmemories.com. This is where you can check out all the photography of local photographer Amanda DeWolf.
Amanda did our wedding pictures, and I was super impressed. Like, she wrangled a huge amount of family members, got us posed, took some amazing shots, and, like, I would recommend her to anybody, honestly. You can go to her website, or you can even visit iamsaltlake.com and then click on her banner on our website to check out her stuff.
Put a little banner right there on the side. Click on through. It'll take you over. Again, the website is amandakmemories.com. So this past Friday, Chrissy and myself were part of the Utah Podcast United live podcast recording. Mm-hmm. We did a live recording of I Am Salt Lake.
Yep, at Watchtower Cafe.
Oh my gosh, I love that place.
I know, I love that place too. Every time I go back, I'm like, man,
why don't we spend more time here?
We really should.
So I want to give a big thank you to Alan and Jess.
Yes.
For coming on, being our guests on the show, on the recording, sitting down and chatting.
Talking podcasts with us.
Talking podcasts, being good sports. You know, we weren't sure exactly how the whole thing was going to be. We ran into some issues with the equipment. Mm-hmm. I guess the equipment they were originally supposed to use didn't happen.
Right.
But I think it was a lot of fun regardless.
Oh, man. I think the most fun thing about it was that we all were together in the energy and really being there in the same room and talking with everybody was probably the most fun part.
So many thanks to those of you that came out. We got to meet some listeners of the show and give some high fives, and it was a lot of fun. And then on Saturday was an all-day podcast workshop at the Salt Lake Community College. It was kind of the extension of the Utah Podcast United thing that they were doing.
Yeah, and that was really fun because a lot of people came who are listeners of the show
that want to do podcasts.
Yeah, and so we were able to really give our take on things, and we had some panel discussions that were really interesting. And then we got to do a workshop,
which was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of teaching our skills, our 5 years of knowledge, and our combined knowledge.
Yes, but I have to say, when we were doing our workshop and you were just telling everyone all the things you know, I was like, man, he's such a badass. That is so cool. This guy knows everything. You know,
I would have killed for a podcast community that we have here in Salt Lake. When I started I Am Salt Lake 5 years ago, never in a million years would I would have thought that we'd have the community that we do today.
The support system is incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So many mad props to all you guys and everybody that are out there creating podcasts. And just like Noelle, that we're going to get into here in just a minute on this episode of the podcast. Hey, this episode is also sponsored by Oleo Skin and Beard. If you're like us, your skin is dry. If you're like me, your beard is dry. You need to moisturize that thing. Oleo Skin and Beard carries an amazing line of skin oils, beard butters for moisturizing and shaping the beard, even some great facial cleansers.
And you ladies have to try out their new Make Me Rosy mask. So great.
That's all I hear about. Chrissy just walks around the house. Hey, check out the Make Me Rosy mask, Chris. Check it out. Give it a try.
Put it on you while you sleep,
Head on over to oleoskin.com. You can use the promo code IamSaltLake. It's going to give you 25% off of your entire purchase right there online, oleoskin.com. All right, guys, let's jump into that conversation with fellow podcaster and cosplayer Noelle Cummings as she came over to our office to share her story. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy. I'm going to start a little bit different with you.
Oh, okay. Do it.
Who are you? What do you do? Who is Noelle Cummings? Is that a loaded question right off the bat? Like, how would you describe yourself if you had to meet somebody? Like, say you and I met for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I said, "Who are you?"
Ooh, fucking.
How would you describe
question.
yourself?
Man, I am still trying to figure that out. I feel like I'm an anomaly. I don't even consider myself a podcaster. I don't even consider myself a cosplayer. I don't consider myself a comedian. I'm just someone who is unfortunately honest and unedited and disgusting and raunchy. And I would probably warn you, like, not to bring me around any of your friends who are easily offended. And yeah, I mean,
I know it's a loaded question, right?
So,
like right off the bat.
I like it.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit.
What?
Now,
No.
You do roller derby as well, though, right?
I am considered a retired derby girl. I played roller derby for like 5.5, almost 6 years. And the shitty thing about that is roller derby is super cool and everyone do it. But when you're 23 and your body is falling apart,
you're like, I can't do this anymore. It's like
my medical bills were racking up and it was rough on my body, but it was, God damn it, it's so much fun. All my friends still do it and I watch them and I'm like, God, should I get back in?
Is it pretty dangerous? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Because I've never done it.
Dangerous?
I mean, so we have a lot of mutual friends and who all do roller derby, and I'm like, they're so badass.
They are.
What is your most like notable roller derby injury? Since we're on that topic, like, do you have the biggest injury?
The biggest injury I probably had was dislocating my kneecap.
Oh, good.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrific. And it's only first to what is called skate rape, which is where you fall or you're in like a falling pile of people and you sit on your body bends in a way you don't want, obviously, and your foot will kick back and you'll sit on your skate and like slam on it. And skate rape in particular is when it gets in or near your vagina or asshole. So I had hit so fucking hard and like skate raped myself. So my whole body weight came crashing down on the back of one of my wheels. And my whole vagina was bruised. Like what, I don't know if it's called a gooch on a girl, but the part in between your vagina and your butthole, it was black.
I thought that was a taint.
Is it a taint?
So, I don't know.
Did this happen during what do they call it? A meet? About?
About. Yeah. It happened in the middle of it. Yeah.
I want to. Have you ever been to a roller derby event? I want to go to one.
You need to.
But holy crap, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. And all of my injuries are subpar in comparison to even some of my friends' injuries, where I've seen bone come out. But I'm making it sound really bad, but it's not. That's literally like years of roller derby. I had maybe 2 or 3 horrific experiences, but it's a full contact sport. You've got mouth guard in, wrist guards, elbow pads, knee pads, and a helmet, and then that's it. It's full contact. When I first started playing roller derby, it was kind of the Wild West. You were still wearing like the funny, sexy outfits, like basically nothing. And it wasn't staged, but it was kind of close to it. Like it was all an act, and you went for the big hits.
WWE-ish.
Ish. Like it wasn't staged at all, but you wanted to go out with the big hits and you wanted to be the showboat. Now roller derby could go into the Olympics. It's all about strategy and like teamwork and playing plays that you've been practicing. And
who even introduced you to roller derby? Like a friend?
No. I played women's rugby when I lived in yeah.
Yeah. This is new information.
Yeah. Hi, you guys. I grew up in California, just outside of Sacramento in a town called Cameron Park. I was a competitive cheerleader for a really long time, but I still looked like this and act like this. And I always kind of stood out. I just loved competitive cheerleading for its athleticism. And a girl that I met through there was also doing women's rugby in the off season. And I watched her play once and I was like, this is my new fucking life. Like, I'm doing this. And it was the next day I just went up to my mom and I was like, hey, I'm going to play rugby. She was like, maybe you shouldn't. And I was like, I'm doing it. And that was it. And then I started playing women's rugby.
And how old were you probably at this time?
16.
Wow.
I was 16, 17, I was playing women's rugby, and then we moved to Hawaii. I lived on Maui for a little bit. I'm basically a military brat. My dad got a job transfer, and then while I was out there, and this might, I don't want to sound racist, but I was living on Maui, and I wasn't 18 yet, and I wanted to play women's rugby, so I continued to play it. I found the local women's rugby team, and it was all just thick-ass Polynesian women. And I was like, I'm going to fucking die if I do this. So I immediately like packed up my shit for rugby and was like, no more. This is where you die. Like there was no way I could play with them. So I tried to think what next. I get bored so easy. I have to be doing things. Like I have to be doing something constantly. So I was like, what do you do now? And at that time, Whip It had come out with Ellen Page.
The movie.
The roller derby movie, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Never seen it. You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Man, this is
that's good for me because I don't watch a lot of movies.
It's kind of like an indie movie too. Wow. I'm really surprised you've seen it.
Yeah. Huh.
That's amazing. You have to.
I think it's on Netflix.
It might be. You could honestly, this might be bad to say, but just look up like watch Whip It free online and you could just stream it from your phone, girl. It had Drew Barrymore in it and Ellen Page and Little Kim for some reason. It was amazing. And I watched that and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like this is my calling. Like it's the perfect mix of cheerleading, which I had been doing for most of my life, and women's rugby. It was beauty and just fucking full out balls to the wall carnage. And I was like, this was the sport that was meant for me. And I found a roller derby team out there and I was getting ready to join them. And during all of this, I was dating a guy from Salt Lake that I met on Maui. So right before I committed to playing roller derby in Maui, I found myself on a plane to Utah.
Permanently,
yeah.
Really?
No family here, nothing.
No.
But Utah, man, what did you think? I mean, did you have this like, idea in your head?
Shitty image? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's be honest here. And by the way, I do appreciate that you're not listening to the 9% of the people that voted no on the profanity.
Oh yeah, thank you. Fuck those people, you fucking assholes.
No, let's back up a little bit here. So Noelle was nervous because she was afraid she couldn't swear on the show.
Yeah, fucking you. Like a week before I get on here, because we had agreed to it. Before that, he posts a poll and it's like, how do you feel about profanity on a podcast? And I was just watching the voters. I was like, this motherfucker. Like, why?
And then there's a pretty big debate on top of it.
Yeah.
Like in the thread.
The thread is what fucked me up.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm with you.
Did you see it? Because then I reposted that on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that too.
Yes.
And so then anyway, that was more, I was curious what people think this wasn't for you. and it really wasn't even for me. I really don't even care either way. I mean, I say be yourself on a podcast, right? Like
absolutely.
You can't please everybody. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. But anyway, I don't know. I didn't mean to get on another tangent. I just wanted to point that out before we got too far into the podcast. So you were coming to Utah. You were coming to Utah. Are you nervous still?
No, I don't give a fuck now.
Okay, awesome.
And now that I know that it's cool, the moment this might be me judging you. The moment I came in and I saw your shaker, I was like, oh, they're down to fucking party. I'm fine here.
The funny thing is we haven't even used that yet. So I'm not the biggest drinker. Chrissy is, but then she gets pregnant and she's like, well, it's probably not the best
9-month
idea.
injury.
Everything things. I know, right? It's like the longest hangover you can ever have.
Well, it's kind of frowned upon.
I hear.
And so, it'd be kind of awkward to have a pregnant woman in here making cocktails up.
I could make
She could make them
for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, but again, anyway. No, we like to have fun on the podcast, really. And that's what we're here to kind of showcase a different side of Salt Lake, right?
The gross side, me.
The gross
The
side.
alternative side.
Hey, I can already tell this podcast episode's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you came to Utah. Like, how long ago was that? Maybe I'm just trying to kind of build a timeline.
Yeah, I had just turned 18. I'm 24 now. I'm going to be 25 in October.
So you've been here for a minute?
Yeah, I love it here. When I first came here, it was culture shock a little bit because I went from basically Sacramento, California, where I was like, if I wanted to party, I would drive up to San Francisco. Like, that was my home pride. Like, I was living a party lifestyle, and then I go to Hawaii and kind of relax a little bit, and I'm into fitness, and that's where I started like eating vegan, and I was like really into taking care of myself, and everyone else around me living that like very chill, everyone's high
Like
as shit.
island lifestyle.
Yeah, everyone's so fucking high and no one gives a fuck. You could be late to work, you can not show up. It's just very relaxed and people are very fluid there. So I come from those two places and I land in Utah and I'm like, what the fuck? I've always had a fake ID. So I immediately came here and started partying. Like, I've been here since Metro moved like 4 different fucking times. And everyone's like, but you're 24. I was like, you don't know my fucking life.
You came prepared.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way I can just live in a city where I know no one.
Yeah.
And I only know the person I'm dating and his friends and like, what? That's bullshit. So got my hands.
That's hard. That's like, especially in a city.
Well, especially
like this.
Salt Lake
Especially
City,
Salt
where
Lake.
everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
It's, that's what fucked me up the most about it was I realized that people here, they stay friends with the people they grew up with. Like the people they were raised with. Like I moved around so much. Like we're originally from New York. I was born there and that's where all my family is. And I moved so much. I had to adapt a personality that could make friends wherever I went. And I don't know the people I went to kindergarten with. And I come to Utah and that's who people grow up with. That's who they hang out with. And I'm just like, God damn, like there's no infiltrating the system. Like all of my friends, like currently right now are all transplants themselves, thankfully. And some of them, still are friends with the people they grew up with. But I just found that so weird. But cool. I mean, cool to have a community. But
it's hard to like come into a community that's already pre-established.
Yes, so hard. You have to be interesting.
Yeah.
Which thankfully people like look at me and they're like, you're fucking weird. Like, I was such a hot mess.
You're an anomaly.
Yeah, seriously though. They couldn't figure me out. I was such a hot mess when I first moved here that I was welcome into every party like a fucking class clown, So it wasn't too bad, but I didn't understand the Mormon religion. The guy I was dating was a Jack Mormon, ex-Mormon. He left the church a while ago, but his family still really was. I didn't grow up with a religious family, but my grandma was super Catholic, so I get kind of that. This sounds bad to say, but like occulty, like ritual shit that happens in both of the religions. But I didn't fully comprehend what it meant to have basically a community or a society built around a religion. That creeped me out, but I loved the temple. During spring when I moved here, I was like, this is pretty, but all the other shit's a little fucked up. Because like all I knew of Mormons was what South Park made fun of and the fact that they were coming into California during Prop 8.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, that's all I knew of them, and that's fucking bad. So I mean, not much has changed in my opinions, but it was a little overwhelming to like the first thing you see is the temple with the high walls, and you're like, the fuck they trying to keep out all these goddamn secrets, and it really weirded me out. But I mean, once you get past that, I always stayed in Salt Lake. Like this is I lived in West Valley for a brief moment, which was a fucking nightmare, but I live in Sugar House now. I lived downtown. I lived in the art space. My first apartment was the art space apartments next to the homeless shelter, which I think really molded me as a person.
You knew how to fight the homeless.
That will
right?
toughen you up pretty quick.
But those are
my
beautiful
first stabbing
apartments,
there.
though. Those are great apartments.
Yeah, it's beautiful until it's 2 a.m. and a crackhead screaming in the plaza is what wakes you up because he just got stabbed in the dick for stealing someone's crack.
Yeah.
That's real.
That'll ruin an experience
I
pretty
was
quick.
19 and saw a homeless guy get stabbed in the dick at 3 a.m. and I was just like, fucking holy shit.
You're like, what am I doing in Salt Lake City, Utah?
Yeah, I was like, it was my fault. When I signed the lease, there was a lady who was probably over 300 pounds, butt naked with a towel over her crotch, sitting on the grass. And when I parked
Outside of the apartment complex?
outside,
Oh my
when I went to sign the lease, I should have been like, don't do it.
Red flag.
Yeah,
That would be like, I'm moving in here. I mean,
That's-
that is,
You're not going to need a TV.
Why would I leave?
on the
This
upside?
is
You'll
awesome.
never be bored.
You never needed one. And I got a dog, so I wasn't alone. And every crackhead has had a husky apparently. And they were like, I've had a husky. Let me pick this up. And I'm just like, oh my God. So it toughened
If you find
me
something in
up.
common with them, you do okay.
Yeah, it was great. The worst experience I had there was with a bunch of juggalos when an ICP concert was happening. But other than that, just because they were wooting and hollering, doing that noise, and I was like, I'm trying to go to bed. But other than that, it was fine.
So what got you into cosplay? Let's kind of fast forward a little bit to
Yeah.
cosplay here.
I was like that kid who wore costumes when it wasn't Halloween.
Because it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
but
to go to
like-
school, you would wake up and be like, I'm ready for school as you're dressed up as Rainbow Bride or whatever, right?
Jasmine, whatever it was. Yeah, it was problematic because I was bringing it into an age where like you as a mom, when would you be like, hey, you can't wear your Pocahontas outfit to school anymore? What age would you
Gosh,
be
I
like,
wish your kids would do that.
no.
I wish my kids. I'm weird because I'm like you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't put my kids in a box and not let them be themselves.
Yeah.
Like when I was going to middle school and high school, I made all my clothes, or I'd wear like old black velvet capes.
Hell
or,
yeah.
See, and I was
that
homeschooled, so I can't
You
really
didn't-
relate.
you didn't
Every
miss
day was
much.
dress up for
Every
you.
day was dress up day for me, you know?
Yes.
Mom, do you like my new pajamas?
And she has to like be the bully and the cool person all at the same time. And, you look dumb, and then turn around and be like, I like your style.
I'm going to go tell my mom.
That's why she homeschooled you.
Yeah,
She was trying to get her social interaction.
I get it. I get it.
So anyway, you would just dress up randomly.
Yeah,
You're like,
and,
this is cool.
Yeah, and it went to the point where it was my mom probably should have been like, don't. But and I never got fucking bullied for it. I don't
Really
know what that was about. I never got bullied, and I was a fucking weirdo.
And this was in like Sacramento.
I was actually living in the
Hawaii.
Bay Area at this point. I was living just outside of San Francisco in Fairfield, which is like 10 minutes from Vallejo. So I was like, when I started cheer then, I was 1 out of 3 white girls in the whole entire like junior, cheer and football program. And never have I been more accepted and been like, girl, you a freak and I like it. Like they were about it. I
awesome.
was a fucking weirdo and no one cared, and it was amazing. And I really think it was the perfect storm of like people I was around not caring and being like, do you? And then my parents also being like, express yourself. That made me into
Were they kind of hippie parents?
not at all.
Not at all.
My dad is this fucking kills me to
Well, I
say
mean,
it.
Berkeley, I was thinking Berkeley area.
I
they
wish.
sound pretty liberal.
My mom, yes. My mom is a free spirit in all sense of the word. She's everyone's mom, and she cares so deeply about everyone, and is the reason why I got into like activism and all that shit. My dad is a current Trump supporter, very alt-right, very conservative.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So me and my dad always butted heads. He's military, like he worked for the DEA. That's why we moved to Maui. It was always war. They're still married and still together for some reason. Just kidding. They're great. But yeah,
That's amazing.
Hi,
They
Mom.
can work
Hi,
through all those
Dad.
differences.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, it they both know. I mean, me and my dad, the reason why I wanted to get educated is so I could debate my dad. It wasn't to get a degree. It was so that I could come at my dad educated, because I just lived for fucking arguing, debating with him. So yeah, they kind of let me, even when my dad tried to lay down the hammer, my mom would just give him a look like, let her, she's not hurting anyone. She's happy. And then he just got on board with it. It became a lifestyle choice for me. When the Harry Potter books came out, my teacher would read them to us if we were good for the day. We would all sit on like the mat and the colored squares, and she'd read chapters from The Sorcerer's Stone to us. And it changed my fucking world. And I went home every day and would tell my mom about it. And so then she got the books, and then she's like, they only have 2 out. The next one comes out in a month, and they're doing like a midnight release at Barnes & Noble, and there's a costume contest. And I was like, well, we have to do it. So my mom dressed me up as Hermione Granger and teased out my hair. And she pulled me out of school because we were going to go to the midnight release of it. And the news was there, and they interviewed me, and they took my picture, and that was it.
You're like, I love this.
I loved it.
Awesome.
I loved it so much. And we went on like a family vacation that summer up the coast from like California to Oregon, and to like some crazy fancy gala my dad was invited to. I didn't take that fucking cloak off once. Not once. Every photo, I'm wearing a fucking Gryffindor cloak on the beach. It was
so rad.
In like this beautiful gown for this like gala. I'm wearing this Gryffindor cloak. It was bad. And then Pokemon, I had my Ash Ketchum hat and backpack. It was just like whatever I could grab onto, that's what I was wearing. And it just... wearing costumes and cosplaying as it became known when I was an adult was just like always a part of my life. And
you're like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, this is what I do now.
We need to actually take a quick break.
Let's take a break.
Really fast.
Do it.
Play a message from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back. So hang tight. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. They have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. They just opened up a 3rd location at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. No appointment is necessary. Head on over to jedsbarbershop.com for more information. Besides the Harry Potter thing, I mean, I guess that would be your first event that you cosplayed at.
Yeah, basically was all of the Barnes & Noble book releases, and then what ended up being all of the movie releases. Like the last movie came out when I was in Maui, and I was still dressing up for it like as an adult.
So rad.
Yeah, it's always been, I don't know, and like Comic-Con was always a thing, like San Diego Comic-Con, but it was never accessible. It was always too expensive, or it seemed like it was for professionals. And it wasn't until I moved to Utah and the first ever Salt Lake Comic-Con happened where I was like, finally, like, this is where I belong. Like, this is for me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make, like, every day I'm going to have a new fucking costume, make it from scratch, and I'm going to wear them. And I did, and I was much skinnier and fitter back then. And I wore a Lilu from The Fifth Element, and it was a fucking hit. And I was like, hell yeah, like, this is what I do now. So
I don't know a whole lot about cosplay, so educate me a little. Can you make money? Like, do you enter contests at all?
Sure. There's people who enter contests. That's not really for me. The people who enter contests should be making more money than they do. Like, I have my friends Ryan and Candace Bielick. They run Bielick Cosplay. They just made what's his name? Lannister's golden hand.
Ooh, Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister,
yeah.
there we go. They made Jamie Lannister's golden hand like from scratch. They molded it and everything, and HBO picked it up and bought it from them to use as a prop for their Instagram page.
No way.
Yeah, and like there's so many.
They make legit cosplay pieces.
Yes, but they're just like, no, they're just doing it for fun.
Wow.
HBO just saw them
that they were
with
good.
it, and they were like, "Hey, can we have that?"
Wow.
Could you be a professional cosplayer?
Me, God, no.
No, but could somebody?
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess that's kind of a dumb question. Of
No,
course, you can be professional, whatever you want. If
You can say
yeah,
you're a
if you
professional.
think, if you say you're a professional, everyone, if you buff up your resume enough,
If you put it on the internet, it's true.
yeah.
Well, no, but could you make like an income from it?
Absolutely.
Could you like travel around to all the conventions
Yes,
and
we
Comic-Cons?
have one of the biggest cosplayers, one of the biggest international cosplayers is from Utah, and her name is Joni Brosis, and she was just on Vampirella, the comic, the cover of it. They took her.
Let's look her up and bring her on the show.
Oh my God, she
that'd be
is.
awesome.
She would be amazing. She's very controversial, which is why her and I immediately became friends. Because she's a model first and a cosplayer second, and she's an adult model first. Like she is beautiful and confident, and that intimidates the fuck out of people. And so we immediately we connected on that level. But she makes a living off of it. She can travel and she does conventions. She now has a Patreon that she's making great money on, giving people amazing content. So it's a full-time job for her.
Wow.
We have a bunch of people locally who make money off of it and are on their way to making it a full-time job, but it's a fucking grind,
No, I'm sure.
You gotta, even with me, and I'm not even that fucking good, you gotta deal with, just like everything that you put on the internet, you deal with the bullshit. Mm-hmm. But it, because cosplay is basically a part of mainstream pop culture right now, it's amplified.
What do you for people that aren't familiar? I'm trying to even just kind of
Dull it down.
Like what do you deal with? Like putting it out on the internet, people heckling you. Or
Men.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Is that
I
what
would
it is?
say would be the biggest problem.
Men. Okay, let's talk about
unsolicited dick pics all the time. Oh my God, I could.
Seems like women have to deal a lot with that regardless.
Yeah, I don't know what, man, if I just had a fucking ounce of the confidence that some random fucking dude from Palestine has to send me his dick, I could be the president right now. Like,
Right?
It's unbelievable. It'll go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. They'll be like,
And then they're confused
Hey.
why you didn't respond well.
Yeah.
Don't
And then
you
they
like?
threaten you.
Don't you like?
Because you didn't
yeah.
respond well.
Yep.
It's
Wow.
It's bad.
I'm sorry
It's
you have to
scary.
deal with that.
Oh, I love it because I'll either fuck with them right back,
Really?
or I'll straight up, if it's through Facebook, which it typically tends to be now for some reason, I'll screenshot it and then I'll go find their mom on their Facebook page and
Or their wife,
their girlfriend
or
or
their
wife or
girlfriends.
whatever.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, I'll fucking
Wow.
ruin your day. Come on, come for me.
Wow.
It's 7 a.m. and I just got a dick.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. 'Cause they
I
think,
will.
well, they think because you're dressed a certain way, then that means you want it, right?
Even if you're not, even if they just have a weird fetish for whatever you're dressed as,
Yeah.
they're just like, I'm gonna jizz all over this. It's disgusting. So you get to deal with that. You get to deal with weird body shaming of both being too skinny, too fit, or too fat, which is always so fun. And it's a weird spot to be at. And then even the community itself likes to shit on each other sometimes. There's like always like nerd gatekeeping. Like, you're just a pretty girl. You didn't pay your dues. You didn't go through the struggle of being bullied like throughout high school for loving comics, and you just get to come here and insert any fucking character,
You get bullied just as bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
And little did they know, well, I guess maybe, like, especially the girls who did end up being pretty and go into cosplay, they did get bullied growing up, and people don't realize that, and then they get bullied on the other side when they finally found where they fit in.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
It's so fucking weird. So, I mean, cosplay is an amazing community, but just like everything, people are going to be
People suck.
shitholes in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's whatever. You just got to I also think when you put yourself on the internet like that, hoping to make some sort of career out of it, whether you're selling prints of it online, you have to thicken up your fucking skin. Like, you have to know what comes with the territory. The moment I post a picture online where I'm like half naked, I'm ready for it. Like, I'm ready for the backlash. And I think that's how you got to go into it. I mean, it's a shitty thing to do, to be like, I'm ready for people to hate or talk shit, but it just
That's
kind of
what
like,
people are
But
like.
the first
yeah,
time you
that
ever
does
did
suck.
that, you weren't necessarily ready. Because you didn't know what to expect, right? Or-
yeah, I mean, true, but I feel like it's just with social media. Just
Sure.
like if you ever, or any not even that, fuck that, art. Any art that you do, and you put out,
It's going to be torn apart.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
make that anything. Make it a podcast, make it cosplay, make it even posting a video of you practicing a move for roller derby. Like someone is always going to have something to say.
Well, it's like anyone like you who actually you put yourself out there and you do the things you love and you're not afraid. The people who are afraid to do it will sit around it and poke fun because that's the only way they can feel like they're better. They're superior for not trying.
Yeah.
And it sucks because there's more of them.
Oh, absolutely. And then even the minority, which I feel so bad for, are the people who are too nervous and afraid to put themselves out there, like that are so talented or so smart or whatever they have that they're too afraid to explore or put out because they've seen how dirty the fucking internet can be. That's what kills me, because there's some people that I see that are so fucking talented but they'll never share it. They'll never create an account for whatever talent they have because they don't want to deal with the bullshit of it all. And
It's so sad.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is.
Very sad.
Motherfuckers on the internet are assholes. You just gotta, you gotta
have to realize that they're assholes.
You do.
And then,
Speaking of the internet,
yes.
Freaky Geeks.
Yeah.
That's what I want to get. Let's
So
get into that
current
before.
today.
Yeah, this is
before
what
we
I'm doing
completely
now.
run out of time here. I mean, well,
Yes.
we got plenty of time, but that's a podcast you do.
Yeah. I do Freaky Geeks with Shane Smith.
I would like to personally thank you for your latest episode because I've never watched the George Clooney Batman movies.
You have to bring up Batman.
I really do
You
because
have to
I
bring
love it's just
Okay,
going to happen.
Did you see the
Accept
post
it,
how I made? I've
accept
never
it.
seen a Batman before.
Yeah, you
Any of the Batmans?
just walked into gunfire.
Yeah,
I know I
that was
did.
like-
I know I did.
I see.
I know
and
I did.
I'm glad I didn't post it because,
Yeah.
then it'd be like I would have sent the attack on
and
you.
I realize that I haven't seen a lot of movies. I'm not.
No, and that's-
I've watched a lot of movies.
You've
Yeah.
seen ones I haven't seen.
I've gone through phases in life where I watch a lot of movies, but my most recent phase, I don't watch a lot of movies.
Right, and that's totally cool. But I watched almost all the Batman movies.
Yeah.
A lot, too much probably.
Yes.
Except for the George Clooney one, because was there one or two?
There was one. There was
was
supposed
one.
to be two.
That's what I thought, because I'm I thought I remembered
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
There was supposed to be two, but they canceled it. Thank God.
Yeah. Because and this latest one was you guys recounted basically summarized the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I could listen to it while I was at work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I never spent time
Yeah.
watching this.
Yeah.
But I'm still so happy that I get to know the plot.
Yeah, what plot?
It was very fulfilling.
Thank
well, that's
you.
the thing. What plot?
Yeah,
I was
there
even
was
trying to
not one.
follow it. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, you just have to. What fucking bullshit are they going to throw in now?
It was a great retelling, though.
Thank you.
People need to get in listen to all of your Batman
Yeah.
movie recaps.
I always feel bad when we do it because, those Batmans, the early 90s Batmans, we have to bow down to them and thank them for existing, or else we wouldn't have the current anything. We probably wouldn't have the current, Marvel Cinematic Universe and
Yeah, they
DC
paved the
Cinematic
way.
Universe. We probably wouldn't have cosplay or comic books in pop culture as heavily as they are right now if it wasn't for
The crappy Batman.
the bullshit ass Batmans in the 90s. But I looked at them through a lens of nostalgia and I was like, these are fucking amazing. And then I watched them again as an adult who's self-aware and I was like, this is fucking horseshit. Oh my God.
It's so awesome. And I'll get off my Batman.
No,
thing
you're
now.
fine. You're fine.
But tell us more about Freaky Geeks.
so
What is
yeah.
it?
40,
What do you
40
guys do?
episodes, right? You just
Fuck, I guess you know better
posted
than
the,
I do.
the 40th episode. Do you remember? How long has it been around? When did it start?
Oh shit, man. I honestly think we started it
Has it been a year?
not even. It hasn't
Yeah, because I was
even
going
been
to
a year
say
yet.
40 episodes. If you do an episode a week,
I think that we started it either shortly before or shortly after Comic-Con, the Comic-Con that Shane and Erica got married. So what was that, a year ago?
Okay.
so why did the podcast even? How do you know Shane? Let's start there.
I don't know.
Who is Shane?
I know Shane. Fuck, man. I knew his wife online. I used to work at Lush in City Creek, and she went to Lush a lot, and we started following each other online. I knew about her. I knew of Shane. It wasn't until her and I ran into each other at that Comic-Con where they were dressed as the sexy Ewoks that she was like, oh and this
yeah.
is my husband, Shane. I did go to their wedding, but I didn't even know them. My current boyfriend has been friends with them for a long time, and he was invited, and then they were like, you better bring your new girlfriend. And I was like, you fucking bet I'll be there, bitch. So I showed up. I didn't even fucking know them besides Erica from online. And then I was cordially introduced to Shane during Comic-Con. You know, it's like when garbage meets garbage, it just like connects.
It melts into gold.
Yeah. Or just fucking toxic, cancerous sludge. And it was like that. Like, it felt like we had been friends for a lifetime. In that I could be fully my uncensored self around not just him, but also Erica, which was so refreshing. I had just come off of like a Tinder spree of being single after being married for a bit. And
wait, I didn't realize you got married.
Yeah, I got married. We eloped in Vegas to the guy Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a fucking nightmare.
So
that's what you tell us.
It's not the same guy you're with
first
now.
marriages.
Then.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought the guy you were with now was the same guy that.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, I was single for a bit, and I learned from the single scene that I had to kind of dull myself down and like censor myself a bit and like water myself down because I was
terrible.
Too much. Yeah, it was fucking bullshit. Until I met Tyler, my current boyfriend, who's amazing, who let me be as disgusting and horrible as I am. And so meeting Erica and Shane around that same time and being able to once again be myself was amazing. And we started hanging out more and more, because I loved hanging around them. Tyler's always been friends with them, and it was just like the click. Everything clicked. And Shane was talking about how he wanted to do a podcast, but he might be mad at me for saying this, but he didn't want to do it with another comedian because he didn't want it to be a stereotypical just another comedian podcast, you know?
No, that makes sense.
That's very valid. That's
Thank
valid.
you for supporting me.
Yeah.
That's why I brought Chrissy on the show. I said, the world can only handle one of me, so,
Yeah.
I mean, an idiot, too. A little peanut gallery.
kidding. I'm
You're
kidding.
amazing.
No, I'm kidding.
But
There's a lot of truth to that, though.
Yeah. And then we of course were kind of talking shit on the podcast we were listening to, because I work a job where all I do is listen to podcasts and watch Netflix, and all I had was like, here's the 2 podcasts I like, and here's why I don't like all of these
Everything
other
else.
ones.
Yeah.
And I was like fueling him into being like, yeah, you should start one, and like you should do this, that, and this. And then it was just like one day at like 3 a.m, I got a text. He doesn't sleep. I got a text at 3 a.m. from him being like, hey, why don't you just start the podcast with me? And I remember being like, is he fucking high? Like, why would he invite me to do it? Like, he's a professional comedian. He was just offered, at this time, he was offered his first headlining gig at Wise Guys. And why would he want me? Like, what the fuck do I have to bring to the table? And I didn't he didn't really answer me when I was like, but why? He was like, because you're great. Like, fuck you. Like, just do it. And then that was it. We're both people who shoot the gun when we decide to do something. So when he said do the podcast with me and I finally agreed, it was like the next day we were doing it.
That's so rad.
I mean, you're comfortable behind the microphone. There's
You're
no
very
doubt
good behind the mic.
There's no doubt about it.
He was right to pick you. Like, you guys have really, really great mic chemistry, and your conversations flow so comfortably.
Did you record like a bunch of episodes before you released anything, or
No.
was it like literally episode 1?
Yep.
That was
episode
it.
1 was us.
Which is a great episode, by
Yeah.
the way. I mean, I remember when Shane posted that.
I remember when Chris came
I'll
home.
check it out. No, I'm like,
He was so excited about the podcast.
I get really excited about
Yeah,
Salt Lake
thank
City
you.
podcasts, right? Especially if that are good.
Yeah.
And especially the fact that you're doing it yourselves and you're not like, oh, somebody else will do it for us.
Yeah.
Okay, you know?
It's very fucking DIY to the point where it hurts us DIY. But
No, it's a good
I think
show,
that's the-
though.
thank
It's a
you.
good show.
That's legit, though, because that means you're genuinely passionate about
Yeah.
it, and you can sense it listening. Especially for people like me who still, I'm not in the geek culture as much as I used to be, but I love listening to you guys because I feel like I'm still connected. you know?
yeah,
It's
hell yeah.
very,
That's
very
fucking
fun.
dope. I sometimes I'm like, we fucking went off the rails with this one. Because we wanted to call ourselves Freaky Geeks because we wanted to talk about nerd culture, fandoms, and geekdoms, but we also wanted to talk about how we're fucking trash deviants and the weird shit that we're into. that is so outside the norm. And so we wanted to kind of warn people. I mean, fuck, one of my favorite reviews we have is for someone who was like, this isn't a Freaks and Geeks podcast. It doesn't tell the stories about all of the actor, but still 5 stars, still a good podcast. And I was like, hell yeah, this fucking guy.
Awesome.
They literally thought it was about the show Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, and they wrote a little bit in the review about how we could have had a whole podcast about the amazing careers of all the people who were originally in Freaks and Geeks, but then they were like, still good podcast. And I was like, this guy
That's impressive. If you got some guy who tuned in for something totally different,
yeah,
and still gave you a 5-star
if he came in now, it'd be too late. But yeah, it was fucking, it was crazy. We always took it seriously, but also not at the same time. We always treated it like it was a job, but also being like, never be suit and tie about it. Always being authentic, always being real and talking about shit that we like. We have listeners always giving us requests, and fuck, we may never do them if we don't like them.
Yeah,
we're so fucking selfish for
it's
no
your
reason.
project. You get to pick what you get to do.
It makes no sense because we're garbage people, and
it seems like people have kind of latched on to it, though.
yeah.
I mean, you did a live show.
Yeah.
And it was
how long
full.
ago was that? Right, that was during.
It was a few months ago.
At the Wise Guys.
It was in winter, right?
It was cold.
It was March. It was March.
It was March.
Yes. Yeah. So it was
winter
cold.
in Utah.
Yeah.
No, and that went extremely well.
Yeah,
I thought.
Thank you. I think it went
It did. It was-
weird. Because
Well, you did get people up in front of groups and ask them to recant like their most awkward sex encounters.
yeah, we just expect everyone to be fucked up like us and just be like,
Yeah.
let me tell you this horrible story that was almost a sex crime. And they were not. They were not that. But we still tried to make it work.
Yeah.
We did the live show for the comedy podcast festival. We did a live thing with Dungeons and Comedy, which was cool. We hope to do more shit. It's fucking weird because I still don't know why people like us, because I think our listeners say that I'm like alternative universe Shane, and at first I used to get really offended by that because I'm like, Shane's garbage, but then I was like, no, you're garbage too. And it's so
self-acceptance is key.
right. I mean, the first step to admitting you have a problem. I see it now and it sucks. Like we will say the same things or finish each other's sentences like fucking weird twins in like a circus or something. And I'm just like, this is why this works. Like there's no way we could do this with anyone else. Like, and I used to be like, if I fell off the face of the earth or if you got too famous, you could continue this on, just like Jack falling off the side of the fucking door in the Titanic. Like, keep going on without me, Rose. But I don't, at this point, I think we're kind of stuck together like fucking cancer and a tumor. We're stuck. Like we need both of each other to kill ourselves and continue on. Like it's weird. It's so weird. I'm still like, we have people who we don't even know anymore listening to us, which I think is the weirdest thing. Cause it used to just be like,
That does get weird.
you know, your mom.
And you guys have created like an amazing online Facebook community, which I love being a part
what's
of.
that
It
all
is-
about? Like,
It's so real.
I need
Everyone
some
is so
tips from
authentic. It's like
you
the only
guys.
place for people to go to be genuinely authentic, and people are active and everyone just has fun. No one's mean to each other.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's a great place.
Thanks.
It's been impressive to watch.
It's funny that you bring it up today because today, for some reason, the Facebook group freaked out, like in a great way. I think someone posted like 2 things in there and was like, and then posted a third thing. Like, I wasn't going to post this, but I really wanted to. But then I realized no one in this group fucking cares. So here it is. And then the floodgates opened and everyone was just like, I've been sitting on this, waiting to post it. I just didn't want to triple fucking post. And it's like all my notifications today on Facebook were for the Freaky Geeks group. I think
so what was posted?
everything.
There was a lot. I noticed my phone was just like
Yeah.
Freaky Geeks, and I'm like, man,
Everything.
I don't
I
even
guess I
have
gotta
time
get on there
right
and
now
check
to look
it
at
out.
this.
Yeah, it's
But, yeah.
insane. And then people making memes like for the Facebook group, like this one of our listeners did this meme of Spider-Man at the desk, you know, being like, when everyone's freaking out about Freaky Geeks, but I'm too busy doing all this work. And it's
That's
just
exactly how I felt today.
Yeah. Me
Oh,
too.
man.
I was like trying to work, but the group was blowing up and I was like, I have to moderate it. What if it's fucking racist garbage? It never is, but I'm always anxious for that, to be there to police it. But it was just everyone having a good time and being disgusting and awesome. And I think that is the weird community that Shane and I have created by being really genuine to the point where we probably have hurt ourselves in future endeavors or possible jobs that we may get later down the road. We have completely ruined our chances from what we've said on the fucking podcast. But it's created a level of honesty and authenticity and like freedom to say what you want and how you feel and talk about the weird shit you do in your bedroom or the weird shit you want to learn to do in your bedroom to what comics you're collecting or what, Marvel movies out. It's created this weird community where people just
they could be themselves. They could be freaky geeks.
Well, and that's what's so great is you're giving them a space to be comfortable being themselves, which is really incredible. I mean, that's kind of the epitome of geek culture finally being openly accepted.
Yeah.
But you're even opening it up more. Like, you don't have to be the stereotypical geek either.
No.
Because it's become kind of hard for people to be themselves within the geek culture even.
Yeah,
you can
for
just be yourself, not this part of yourself or that part of yourself. And I think you guys have a safe space where a lot of people don't really have to go to.
Yeah.
Except for where you are.
Yeah, it's a weird like safe space but also unsafe space because like it's fucking some of
the most unsafe safe place ever.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's really in the group, right? You're like, okay, I approve them. And by the way, I'll put the link for the group with the show notes for this episode.
Oh, hell yeah.
Too, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
That way people
very
can
NSFW 18 over sensitive content. Yeah, it's funny. I'll randomly be like, oh, my fucking coworkers in this group? Jesus Christ. Like, I had 2 coworkers, including myself, like, God from above looking at them like, ooh, like being like, oh shit, you're in here? Because they posted some weird, like a meme made from Pornhub, and then one of the girls we work with was like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh shit, you're here.
Oh man.
It was amazing. They're cool. They're fine. But it's just, I forget that people are in there, including my mom and Shane's mom, but they know what they're getting into at this point.
Wait, your mom is in there?
Yeah.
She's pretty cool then, huh?
Yeah, my mom has
you should bring your mom on the podcast.
I tried. I had her do an intro for me, but she hates the way she sounds because she's got a thick New York accent that she tries to cover with like California girl talk. And she hates it. She hates it so much. I'm going to force her one day. I'm going to just record us talking because my mom is a fucking character. Like she finally was here and was able to hang out with like everyone I hang out with and like come to the bar, and people finally got to be like, oh, that's why she's a fucking nutcase. Like definitely 100% for my mom. She's kind of like become the podcast mom. I remember on Mother's Day, one of our listeners, Nisha, who's amazing and makes us all really cool art and shit, made my mom like a Mother's Day card with like a serial killer and was just like, thanks for being the podcast mom. My mom fucking ate that shit up. She loved it.
That's so great. Wow.
We need a podcast mom.
We do need a podcast
You
mom.
do? She's right there.
I'll be the podcast mom.
Yeah.
There we go.
We got a mascot on her way out there.
Oh, yeah. Congrats,
So,
you guys.
every
Be
podcaster, once we start podcasting, all of a sudden we have this idea in our head of 50 other podcasts that we want to do. Is that the case with you? Would you ever consider doing another show?
Fuck no.
No.
Fuck no. There's no way. Because Freaky Geeks, we've opened it up that we could do anything. We could do anything we want. That's the fun thing. Our first episode, we talk about how you could be a nerd or a geek with anything. You can be nerdy about porn and be able to, recount the exact scene minute to second where your favorite whatever cum shot happened, to you could be nerdy about comics. You could be nerdy about, I don't know, shoes. You can be nerdy about everything. And when we set ourselves up with that, I think it, we opened the floodgates to, we could do whatever the fuck we want. And there's no point. We want to make Freaky Geeks our full-time job. Like it kind of already is, but we want to take it to the next level. We want to travel with it. We want to do more shows. We want to explore shit that no one likes to talk about.
Have you guys set up a Patreon with it yet? I know there was talk about that.
Yeah, we're about to. We just want to make sure that we have fun ideas for like rewards, but we also want to be realistic, so we've had to like,
so you can actually manage the rewards.
Yeah,
that's
don't
big.
that's the biggest tip I'll give podcasters. Don't get in over your head.
yeah.
Where all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I can't show up at that guy's house every night at midnight for donating $5. I mean, that gets a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to send them bones, and I'm just like, you can't fucking do that, Noelle. Come
Can't
on.
kill enough animals in a week.
Yeah, just like, come on, get it, fucking pump the brakes a bit. So yeah, we plan on doing a Patreon, and even when we were talking about it, the support has been great. But yeah, I don't know. Freaky Geeks it's become the thing I'm most proud of out of everything that I've done, out of the traveling and all the different shit I've had dip my feet into. Freaky Geeks has become my fucking passion. I love everyone that we meet because of it. I love the stories that people tell us. I love, like, man, if you only fucking saw that podcast's inbox, it's beautiful how real and raw and uncensored people can be. I mean, like I was telling you guys before we recorded that some of our most popular episodes were the sexy pastas, where listeners sent in their anonymous sex stories, mostly horrific sex stories. And I think, there's a lot of people who hold weird shit inside, and
for fear of being judged.
Yeah. And it just fucking eats at them. And we gave them an outlet, and they delivered. Man, they fucking delivered. And it's just the coolest fucking thing. Every day I'm blown away by it. Every day I'm like, when are they gonna hate us? When is this gonna die? But it just keeps getting,
it's just gonna keep getting stronger and
it
bigger
keeps
and
getting
better.
cooler. It's insane. And now we have to, I feel like our fans have been amazing. Like they've been making art and making not just art, but like I'm blanking on his name because I'm a fucking asshole, but he made like a leather coffin purse with the Freaky Geeks logo in it. And like we had one of our listeners make decals for us, like just because the listeners wanted decals, and Shane and I are such fucking assholes, we haven't made them, so we had listeners make them for themselves. And
that's awesome.
Just wait until you get tattoos from listeners.
Oh, I can't
Freaky
wait.
Geek tattoos.
I can't fucking wait.
I guarantee that will be happening.
Oh yeah, I mean, our only sponsor is Black Salt, so Casey and Will better fucking get on it. And we just, it's been so fucking cool. So when our community shows up, if you want to call it that, just the group of assholes that listens to us, we felt like we have to deliver more for them. So we want to do some deeper, darker shit. Like we just did our most serious, heavily researched episode. We did a 3-parter on the West Memphis 3, and that was a fucking success. I was worried because it was the first like actual thing that we took ourselves seriously on, and everyone was about it, and it was met with fantastic feedback. So we want to do more shit like that. The next one I think we're going to do is Chaos Magic, Sex Magic, and the Left-Hand Path, which our listeners have been biting on the chomp for, because Shane and I are really active in Chaos Magic and Sex Magic. So that's fucking weird, right?
I don't even know what that is.
I know, I see your face.
I'm gonna have to hit up Google
cool.
tonight.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of requests? Like, do people send you guys requests of what they want to hear on the next show?
Oh, yeah.
See, I think for Patreon, you could do like special bonus episodes is what I mean, you probably already thought about
Oh, yeah.
all that.
Fuck. If people want to give us enough money, I'll throw them on. Call me,
yeah.
bitch. I'll put you on an episode. Like, sure.
Have you
hell
guys
yeah.
set up a voicemail line for listeners to call in?
Oh, no. That sounds like a nightmare town.
Okay. I was going to say, you could set up like a free Google Voice.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should, because my inbox, man, it's fucking, woo. Can't handle any more of these stories. Man, I haven't told anyone this. Hello, everyone listening.
Everyone just went to them. Whoa.
I got a story in my inbox the other day from one of our listeners. He was like, keep this anonymous. Basically about him going to a gaming convention in Las Vegas, seeing a girl there that was cute. And he's like, you never go to a gaming convention thinking you're going to hook up. That's the last place on earth you go to get fucked. Like,
yeah,
never. But this girl was like flirting with him. He was flirting back. Things were going pretty good. And then she was like, oh, and here's my boyfriend and all my friends. And he was like, boyfriend, the fuck? Like, those were not single girl vibes you were throwing down. And they ended up hanging out, and she was like, oh, we're, going to all these bars. Her boyfriend was apparently getting super shit-faced, blackout. She was like, oh, we're going to go back to the hotel. Do you have a place to stay? He did. But he said no, because as the boyfriend got more shit-faced, she became more flirty with him.
Yeah.
So he said no, and she's like, oh, you can just stay at our place. Fucking long story short, long story being beautiful, fucking A+ quality story. They're fucking on the bed while the boyfriend's passed out in it.
Wow.
Wow.
And then he
that's an experience.
yeah. And they finish and he's still asleep, and then they have the fucking audacity to like cuddle naked in bed with the passed out boyfriend, and the passed out boyfriend finally wakes up and sees them cuddling naked and is like, the fuck? And that guy just bounced out of there like a ghost in the night.
Wow.
Yeah, but the details in that were fucking horrific.
So anyway, Freaky Geeks. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher Radio,
hear more.
wherever podcasts can be found, I'm sure, right? On all the podcast
We're on
outlets.
fucking everything, and we have a website, freakygeekspodcast.com, that, again, are another fucking listener made for us because we're such shitbags.
And I'll put all the links at iamsaltlake.com with this episode's show notes. And I'm sure everyone's going to go subscribe now and listen.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Salt Lake City as we wrap this up. I got to find out, do you have any favorite local eating spots, places that you enjoy eating at?
Oh, fuck yeah. I love Bud's. I'm vegan, so I'm sorry. But Bud's is amazing. I love City Cakes as well. City Cakes has the best soft serve ice cream. Even my friends who aren't vegan just will go there now for ice cream. It's amazing. And I love Faux Thin and Sugar House for vegan pho. I think they're the best.
You should go with her to that, Chrissy.
I really should. Have you tried the vegan pho at Zest?
No.
It's pretty good.
Oh my God.
But I want to try that place too. That sounds good.
It's fucking amazing. I love pho. Pho can cure everything, even depression. No, it can't, but it does taste good.
But yeah, it makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah,
about
it's amazing.
Totally.
If you could change one or two things about Salt Lake City, what would you change, if anything?
Man, it's hard to summarize this, but
this is your opportunity to change something.
And then it happens when I say it. I would change our government completely. I think our local government needs to wake the fuck up. I think they need to realize that porn is not the number one health crisis in Utah. Suicide is on the rise, and our epidemic with drug abuse is at a highly disgusting rate, and teen homelessness is rising, and our air quality is fucking horse shit. And we've got bigger things that are actually hurting our community, like causing death hurting, not just like making your wife mad because she caught you fucking jerking it to Jenna Jameson. Like, we have actual fucking problems happening. So I would wake the fuck up on that. That's a fucking issue for me. If you can't,
no, I like
fucking
it,
triggered.
Well, I don't like
wrong.
it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We're ignoring a lot of serious problems.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's like I've had a few friends give birth within the last few months, and it seems like all of their babies have oxygen now that they've been having to wear like months after birth. They're hooked up to
Really?
oxygen,
that sounds
and
promising.
I'm like, yeah, you guess what you've got to look forward to? And
Great.
no one's fucking saying it, but I'm like, do you think the goddamn inversion has something to do with that? You better fucking believe it. It's just, wake the fuck up, Utah. This place is so fucking cool. No matter how much people like to shit on it, it's so fucking cool, and we are just moving towards like being like a metropolis that's accessible and affordable. And if we want to get there, we have to knock this shit off.
Yeah.
We've got to knock this shit off. We've got to treat our homeless better and help our addicts and help our LGBT community and our homeless, like youth homeless community, and most certainly fucking address the suicide epidemic that's happening in Utah. Fuck porn. Deal with real shit. Like, it's disgusting sometimes in that aspect. Like, oh, we're so worried about alcohol, and we're gonna make you put up a fucking sign that says you're a restaurant or a bar, and we're gonna go on.
It is nice to know, though, what you're entering, right?
God.
You know, okay, it's nice to know I'm entering a restaurant.
Yeah,
here,
right?
Because
Thank
you don't want to
God
make that
beer
mistake.
bar
I just want to
has
know
it.
if there's food. I don't care where I am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you know?
But do you serve food?
Exactly.
Man, I'm just like, out of all the fucking things to like push forward, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, they're picking some interesting things to put a lot of effort into.
Yeah, I mean, shit. It's just,
Gotta love Utah, though, right?
I do, and like, don't get me wrong.
I do too.
And
we have some of the best people ever. Like
we do.
The actual people here, the tribes here, fantastic.
And that's why this shit's gonna fucking change, you know? People always say, like, oh, if you hate it so much for all those reasons, why don't you leave? And it's like, because if we leave, if all three of us leave, shit's never gonna fucking change here.
Exactly.
You know, we have to stay here and we have to fight for it.
We're staying here for the children.
Yeah,
for the
we
children.
are. Yeah, you guys are you raising cool ass fucking kids.
I hope so.
Hopefully not with any oxygen masks. Though.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
God, no.
Man, no.
Not that, though.
Now I'm...
Let's, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this episode up? I've had a great time chatting with you.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
I'm so glad
this is
to
really
finally get you on the podcast. What I want to bring, maybe down the road a little bit, bring you and Shane.
Oh, fuck.
Back. I had Shane, I'm trying to remember, he was on like 180 something episode. I'll put when we do the intro,
We'll find him.
Post that link for that episode with Shane.
Hell yeah. Man, ooh, you want both of us on here? Fucking y'all love train wrecks?
Shit's gonna get real.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I won't bring you both.
No, let's bring them both on.
No, do it, but also maybe don't, but also do it.
Any other links you want to tell people? Like, how can they connect with you directly, or is there anything you want to?
Yeah,
pump
sure.
out
If
there?
you want to send me an unsolicited dick pic, you can hit me up on Instagram at Gnarly Quinn Cos, gnarly GNARLEY, like Harley but spelled gnarly. I don't know. Figure the fuck out. I have a Facebook for that and Twitter, all the same name. Twitter's where I post my offensive garbage. Facebook is where I rarely post. But you can always find me in the Freaky Geeks Facebook page.
All right. Many thanks again to Noelle Cummings for coming on this episode. Hopefully you all enjoyed it.
I did.
Oh my gosh. I was so glad to finally get her on the show.
Yeah, she's a riot, man.
Felt like we had the missing link of Freaky Geeks since we already had Shane on the podcast.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, we're going to put the link for Shane's episode and all of the links to get in touch with Noelle at iamsaltlake.com/282. It's going to be the show notes for this episode. Again, go back and listen to the first time that I had Shane on the podcast. I know Chrissy wasn't even part of the podcast yet.
But I knew Shane.
Part of I Am Salt Lake yet. So, I mean, Shane's got a heck of a story. Noelle's got a heck of a story. Their podcast is awesome. Go check it out in iTunes. Again, that's Freaky Geeks. And go join the community over there.
Yeah.
And say that you heard about them from I Am Salt Lake. How cool would that be?
That would be so cool. You guys will really enjoy him, for real.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barber Shop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barber Shop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. Their brand new 3rd location, it's opened up. It's ready to go. It's at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown. It's at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get a haircut, and
look good.
You're going to look good. Grandma's going to be happy to see you with that new haircut. JedsBarbershop.com is where you can go for more information. Hey, I did want to mention, we didn't mention this yet, Chrissy. I think it was actually not this last week, but the week before.
Yes, I believe it was.
We did an interview with Glenn Higby from over at cbklandradio.com. Glenn's a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
I was really honored that he asked us to do an interview with him. And that he wanted to talk to us. I mean, of all people, Chris and Chrissy. And then it was cool to see Glenn this last weekend.
Yeah, we got to see him. He came out to the things that we did, and it was really fun to catch up with him on both levels.
So again, many thanks to Glenn over there at CBK Land Radio. Hey, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to join our private I Am Salt Lake Facebook group and come hang out with the rest of the I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners. It's where we're going to talk about everything rad here in Salt Lake City and everything going on with the podcast. It's kind of our special little island on the internet, right? Like it's a lot of fun.
Our secret society.
We're trying to build up some more activity over there. So head on over to iamsaltlake.com/group. It's going to send you over to that Facebook group and where you can request to join up with the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's going to be a great week. It's going to be hot, though, so get out and enjoy the city. Support local.
And good night, Grammy.